Alright, what's going on everyone? It's been a minute since I made a video. I decided to jump back in here because I saw something that caught my eye. Apple is trying to make its own AppleGPT, the AI. You guys been following AI? This stuff is crazy. Every single week, every single day, there's some new thing that's completely altering our world, and it blows my mind. Apple tests AppleGPT in major artificial intelligence push to catch up with OpenAI frenzy. Apple's entering the chat. They're going to throw their hat in the ring and take a stab at this, which should be interesting, right? One more player in the game. This article makes the note that the company was caught flat-footed, like everyone else was kind of on top of this, Microsoft, Google, etc., and they're kind of behind, which is kind of an Apple thing, right? Sometimes they're not the first to the market with anything, and they're kind of just catching up. So they're catching up now. They're making their own internal chat GPT, AppleGPT, and this is from Mark Gurman. I believe this guy is a pretty connected Apple source. I recognize that name, I think. Apple Inc. is quietly working on artificial intelligence tools that could challenge those of OpenAI and Google, but the company has yet to devise a clear strategy for releasing the technology to consumers. So it's just early days, classic things with Apple. They let everyone else kind of muddle about in the early stage of things, such as AI, generative AI, and they're going to catch up, and most times, more often than not, they release a product that's pretty refined and pretty popular. That's kind of that's the name of the Apple game, right? The iPhone maker has built its own framework to create large language models, the AI-based system at the heart of the offerings like ChatGPT and Google's Bard. According to people with knowledge of the efforts, right? So we talked to people actually at Apple, is my understanding. With that foundation, known as Ajax, so they call it internally Ajax, Apple has created a chatbot service that some engineers call AppleGPT. In recent months, the AI push has become a major effort for Apple, with several teams collaborating on the project, said the people, who asked not to be identified because the matter is private and you'd be in a lot of trouble. The work includes trying to address potential privacy concerns related to the technology. So Apple has been absent from the AI frenzy. We all know that. They haven't been a company mentioned with AI very often at all. Its main artificial intelligence product, Siri, stagnated in recent years. So yeah, Siri has not been growing at the same rate this other AI has been growing. What happened here? Like, why is Apple's Siri so far behind? Is it because it's voice and not text? That might be it, right? But Apple has made AI headway in other areas, including improvements to photos and search on the iPhone. Yeah, so Apple seems to be releasing updates and features on other parts of their phone. They just kind of subtly put it in there, and AI is helping, it feels like, on the iPhone. There's also a smarter version of autocorrect coming to its mobile device later this year. I mean, I guess that's kind of exciting. I mean, I don't know. So publicly, Tim Cook has been circumspect about the flood of new AI services hitting the market. So of course, if he's caught flat-footed and his company has not got a product to deliver, he's going to be a little bit critical of everyone else rushing, even if it's right or not right. He's going to be critical, right? He's going to say, yeah, it's a little bit quick. He says there's still a number of issues that need to be sorted. Apple will be adding AI to more of its products, he said, on a very thoughtful basis. Apple is very thoughtful. I make fun of it, but it's actually true. Behind the scenes, Apple has grown concerned about missing a potentially paramount shift in how devices operate. Generative AI promises to transform how people interact with phones, computers, and other technology. So the AppleGPT app was created as an experiment at the end of last year by a tiny engineering team. Its rollout within Apple, so internally, halted over security concerns about generative AI. That sounds like an Apple thing. They're concerned about privacy. They slow themselves down to make sure the product is thoughtful, right? So they're doing Apple things. Apple's doing Apple things, but has since been extended to more employees. Still, the system requires special approval for access. There's also a significant caveat. Any output from it can't be used to develop features bound for customers. Isn't almost everything you do at Apple bound for customers in some roundabout way? Isn't that what Apple does? It creates and sells products. But I guess what they mean is if you're working internally and you have like project management on to your own team, you can use this AppleGPT. But very interesting. I feel like it's always a fight for data. Like, I feel like Apple's using this and creating this, spending money on this and thinking about this because they want to have an internal one that's built by them so they can do it right their way, and they can just, every day that goes by you use your own, you get to house and own and understand the data. All about the data. It always comes back to that, it feels like. They could use OpenAI's ChatGPT, but they want to go through the pain of developing their own because they want to have their own. They want to keep the value. Apple employees say the company's tool essentially replicates Bard, ChatGPT, and Bing and doesn't include any novel features or technology. So they're just doing it to make sure they have one. They are kind of been caught flat-footed. They're behind, right? So they're making sure, yeah, we're not trying to do anything new. We're just going to have one so that later down the line we can do it our way and iterate and, you know, do a novel feature the Apple way. While the company doesn't yet have a concrete plan, people familiar with the work believe Apple is aiming to make a significant AI-related announcement next year. I don't know what that would be. Why would Apple just create something for the public that's just some, you know, AI interface for people to ask questions? I feel like there's no value there, but I'm not Apple. I don't understand what they would be doing. Something on your phone, maybe Siri integrates text or something. I don't know. So I did not know this, but apparently Apple weighed signing a larger contract with OpenAI, which licenses its services to Microsoft, Shutterstock, and Salesforce. Apple was looking at OpenAI and like, should we leverage a contract? Should we give them the ability to do this for us? And that's just super interesting to me, because and then finally they're like, yeah, you know, we're not going to use, you know, Microsoft's company to go into Apple's company, they're gonna develop their own. But that's interesting that they were considering it. Apple's Ajax system is built on top of Google Ajax, the search giant's machine learning framework. Apple's system runs on Google Cloud, which the company uses to power cloud services alongside its own infrastructure, and Amazon.com, AWS. All these big companies, these tech companies, are all like within the same family. They're like brother and sister. Amazon creates AWS, which is used by Apple, and then they also use Google Cloud, and then Microsoft buys OpenAI and they integrate that. Like, they're all like buddy. I didn't know that these companies like shared, like Apple hosts anything on Amazon's AWS. I didn't know that happened. And they use Google Cloud. I didn't know that happened. I always assume Apple would just create what they want. And all these companies, I just assume they create their own servers and their whatever, but apparently they don't. An ideal spot for Apple to integrate LLM technology would be inside Siri, allowing the voice assistant to conduct more tasks on behalf of users. Despite launching in 2011, Siri launched in 2011. I did not know that. That's a long time ago. That's like over 10 years before rival systems. Siri lagged competitors as Apple focused on other areas and adapted fewer features in favor of privacy. The company extended its artificial intelligence effort in 2018 with the hiring of Andre, who previously led search at AI at Google. So they even borrow people from each other. All these companies, they work together. Like, the customer has no chance. These companies are so powerful and so big, and now they're working together, and they share people and ideas and servers and clouds and services. They're coming for your wallet, man. They're going to create this. Of course, Apple's going to create something cool every single year. They're so good at it. The company is planning a new health coaching service codenamed Quartz that relies on data from Apple Watch and uses AI to personalize plans. Cool. So you have an Apple Watch, you wear it all the time, you feed data into it every single day, every single minute. After time, maybe they can make a personal workout plan for you. Maybe you input some of your details, like how big you are, how your demographic kind of stuff. And then it says, boom, you should be doing this as a workout plan at your age. And that's super cool. Apple's future electric car will use artificial intelligence to power the vehicle's self-driving capability. So Apple is still working on electric car. I did not know that. Can we believe the article that's true? Like, is Apple actually still working on electric car? Man, so far behind. Sometimes you got to get something out the door. This also reminds me of the headset that Apple kind of just released. I forget what it's called, the Provision, something like that. Maybe a couple years ago, the metaverse was the huge buzzword, and everyone was talking about that, and especially Facebook, Meta. They changed their name to literally Meta because of the metaverse. And Apple's like, oh, okay, we're going to catch up to that now. And they created the headset that's coming out next year, and they kind of caught up to the metaverse. AI is like the newer, flashier thing. And Apple's like, oh yeah, I guess we're flat-footed again. I guess we'll catch up to that. And probably next year, it appears, they're going to have a product. And like, it seems like Apple is just classic Apple things. They're never the spearhead. They're never leading. They're never first. But when they do release something, it turns heads, and eventually it, more often than not, gets the mass appeal. And it's crazy how they do it. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of review that article and take a think about it. It's crazy how much AI is coming into our lives every single day. Some profession is changing with AI and these companies and these products. It's insane. The only advice I have is don't be allergic to reading and learning and understanding all of this AI stuff. It's so crazy. The world is going to be changing so fast, and even faster pace with this stuff. We'll see you in the next one.